Welcome to a very special edition of the No Limits Live podcast. I'm your host, Nordine, and today is personal because I'm not just joined by an inspiring guest. I'm joined by someone who carries a piece of me and a huge piece in my heart. That's right. This episode is about energy, innovation, and the beautiful mix of wisdom and youthful courage. Real change begins when you dare to believe that the world you dream of can actually be built. Today's guest is a 21-year-old powerhouse, a business student, an entrepreneur, and a visionary who is on a mission to change the world through regenerative agriculture. She's committed to building a future where capitalism becomes a tool for good, where farming doesn't just feed us, but heals our planet. Please welcome my daughter, the bold, brilliant, and unstoppable Isabella Zouareg.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being with us, Bella.
Oh, yeah.
It means a lot to me.
I'm super excited.
I have to say, sitting across from you for an official podcast is unbelievable. When you hear that quote that I just mentioned about daring to build the world you dream of, what it does to you when you hear that?
You know, it really reminds me that just like, so many people always tell me, you can't change the world, just one person, and you can't, dreaming to change the world is such a big dream, and I'm sure lots of people would love to do it, but everyone has the tools to do that. I mean, you just have to really believe in yourself and believe in what you're doing, and there's so many ways to change the world. Everybody can change the world. It just takes one person.
Yeah, it's interesting, and it's we pretty much hear that all the time. Mm-hmm. Pageant. When you have a pageant that wins the Miss World, the first thing that comes out of their mouth is, "I want to change the world."
Right.
But what does it really involve to change the world? Of course, as you said, you can't. It's not one person that can change the world, but one person can initiate that change. Don't you think?
Of course. I think that, the world is a community, and in each section of the world is another community, and we're all just one big community. And if you really take the time to get to know your community and get to know other people in the world, you'll find like-minded people who believe in the same thing as you. And that is one thing that can really, really boost your morale, because it's sometimes when you're just alone and you're thinking of all these big dreams, you think that nobody really thinks like you and that there's more bad in the world than there is good. But it's just not true at the end of the day. There's so many good people in this world and so much good in the world. And if you just look, you'll find like-minded people who want to do the same thing as you and who want to see change in the world.
So would you say that change starts within you first?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And then it flows to families, friends, to the community, the city, the nation, and the world. But first, it has to be within yourself. And I see that every day with you and how you're inspired not by outside events. You are inspired by something greater, something inside of you that sparks that willingness to help. And from a young age, I've seen that in you. You're always helping. It's funny because it's even powerful. Now I understand where this is going, because when she was little, we would give her money for her birthday, and she would go and share that money with other people.
I just loved buying gifts for people so much.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what I want after the podcast.
Anytime.
Yeah. So again, changing the world, one has to think about it. We have to have the willingness, and it's a privilege, really, to be able to do that. In my travels around the world, I've seen people couldn't even fathom about helping the world. They needed help themselves, So yeah, absolutely, and I see that in you. You have that, higher power that speaks to you.
I guess I'm intrigued because your dad, Nordine, had a hard time saying a word that I'm going to have a hard time saying. regenerative agriculture. Did I get that right?
You did it.
Regenerative.
Regenerative.
I am French. You have.
agriculture.
You don't have any excuse.
I
I have an
excuse.
excuse. I speak 5 languages.
I barely
So-
speak
You should
one.
hear him say hippopotamus.
Oh yeah, I can't say that.
You can.
Hippopotamus. Now you're making fun of me.
Oh, no. We
Nobody's
would never
perfect.
make
No, I
fun
can't
of you.
say it.
No, well, we won't ask you to
Hippopotamus.
say hippopotamus ever again.
Hippopotamus.
But regenerative agriculture. What got you into that? What is that all about?
Okay, so when I was younger, I was a vegan vegetarian for a very long time, and every time I did a school project, it would always be on factory farming. And the more and more I researched factory farming, the more I realized how bad it was for the world and how many of these plants there are. And not only is it bad because of the water that it uses, and the gases that it produces into the environment, but it's bad because of the soil, and it completely destroys the soil. And we need good soil in the world, healthy soil, to harvest carbon. And
Okay.
so if we have all of this bad soil, which comes from not only factory farming, but irresponsible farming practices, like if, mass-produced products that come from irresponsible agriculture practices, we get desertified lands and dry soil. And with dry soil and desertified lands, it just ricochets the heat from the carbon back into the atmosphere.
Is that why they call it rotating crops? Is that so you use different parts of the land?
Okay, so with irresponsible agriculture practices, they use a lot of tilling to till the lands.
Right.
They use herbicides, fungicides, pesticides, and that kills the soil. And soil has microbes. And when we don't have those microbes in our soil, not only can it not give our food the microbes that we need to be healthy,
Sure.
but it doesn't give the soil what it needs to be healthy. And so when the soil isn't healthy, there's nothing that it can do. So, and then they'll absolutely kill this land, and then they'll move on to the next. With these desertified lands, like I said, they're useless. And they not only can they not grow plants, but the communities that live around it, they can no longer use the soil for their agriculture and for the climate. So the climate is not only going to be horrible, but they're going to be starving. And so these communities in these rural areas, they're going to be just left with nothing, and all just so we can mass produce corn that we use in every single thing, or any herb or any plant really that they want to mass produce. And so, like I said, once they're done with this land, they move on to the next land. But there is a way to have healthy soil and to produce healthy plants that have microbes and that have microbes in the soil that harvest carbon. It's not, using gas cars. It's not, there's so many things that we all think, well, this is bad for the earth. Well, this is bad. But really, just shopping at the grocery store for your things that you're buying for your family, that is some of the worst things. When the difference between organic and unorganic product is the soil and how we farm. And so the organic vegetables will have microbes in them because their soil has microbes, and they use natural farming practices. They like biosequestration, which is
Another hard word to say. I'm not even going to try that one.
And it trickled down to this notion of saving the planet, and it's absolutely a genius and powerful reason why we should be doing this. But at the end of the day, it trickles down to one's health and well-being. There are so many research, as you mentioned, in terms of organic and non-organic, that followed people who consumed organic product, and the results were mind-boggling. All the toxic products and that we see in our plates every single day. I mean, what do you have to say about that? I mean, we talk about the planet and all that. How about the person themselves? Who are eating unhealthy things based on non-organic.
Well, I think that a lot of people that buy organic vegetables just buy them because they know that they're better for them. They don't necessarily know why they're better for them. But when we eat organic vegetables, our body is basically one giant microbe. We're full of microbes. And which you need from vegetables and fruits, they all have different microbes in them that feed your microbiome. And so when we eat inorganic vegetables, we are barely getting any microbes at all.
So we're wasting our time.
You're basically wasting your time. I mean, if you're eating a salad full of inorganic vegetables or even fruits, you're eating. It's sure. I mean, it's gonna get the job done. You'll probably be full, but at the end of the day, our body is not just one vegetable. Our body is microbes, a bunch of microbes, and you need microbes to fuel your body and to get to a certain amount or certain level of healthiness that you want to be, and to fight disease and so many things. And
talking about dis-ease, it's the opposite of being at ease, and that's when your body is not comfortable, but people are not paying attention because they're not aware. So there's a difference between a person such as yourself and myself, Ken, when we know what we are buying, we know what is on our plate, and we are hypersensitive to our bodies and how our bodies function, how our body responds to certain foods, and that's what you're mentioning, that when you are not eating healthy or healthier, your body, if you're tuned to your body, you feel that, and that's what I want to suggest people to do, is to start paying attention, mindful eating, for instance, and see what, non-organic vegetables, fruits, and such are doing to your body, but not only the food, but there are a lot of things like cosmetics, that brings us back to you. But there's a question I'd like to ask you. You're juggling between work, studies, your own business. You're a young entrepreneur. You started as young as 20 or 19?
19.
19. You had your own LLC. You make your own product. And I see that. It's sometimes I scratch my head and you give me a headache because it's so much for a young person such as yourself. Tell us and tell the listeners out there and whoever's watching this, what is that habit you built that allows you to juggle all that?
Well, I think that the number one habit that I built was just wanting to be busy and not wanting to waste my life away to either just being on my phone, or one thing that I'm really, really, really trying to do is to create more than I consume. And so, we're full of a world of consumption, and every single day we're consuming different things. But if you are constantly creating something, then not only are you creating something and you feel good about that, but you're creating your own ideas, and it leads you through a life that's less susceptible to irresponsible people giving out knowledge that they shouldn't be giving. The more that you're creating and the more information, like good information that you're consuming and real facts, you can create more ideas in your head, and you can feel like you have your own mind to think with, rather than just taking anybody's idea and now that's set in stone and that's what's right, but challenging other people's ideas.
It has to be backed by evidence and facts. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. Back to your question, just wanting to be busy all the time and wanting a life that's full of, that's just full, that you feel good about at the end of the day. And sometimes this can bite me in the rear because I'm doing so much stuff all of the time.
That's what I was going to say.
But it's also, and I did for a long time, just constantly do. I would be doing something every single day, and I got burnt out. And I then, for a whole month or 2 months, I would just do nothing.
It's interesting you say that, because doing nothing is actually doing something to feed your anxiety. when you do nothing, you're actually feeding your anxiety. You're actually doing something creative, because the part of the brain that is responsible for creativity in general, whether it's creating art, creating all the beautiful things that you're creating, or creating anxiety, it's the same part of the brain. When you're not busy creating something good, you're busy creating something bad, because that's the nature of the brain.
Right.
It wants to do something. And the enemy of happiness for me is unhappiness, of course, but unhappiness is built based on boredom. The opposite of boredom is mindfulness. You're mindful and aware of the things you're doing, and that's what you actually being busy all the time. And I see you. Sometimes you're a little, frustrated, and I can understand that. You're human. But you know how to get back on track.
Yeah.
That's the beautiful things about, you.
And now I also know when to take a break. Like there are certain moments in life where you need to go be with your family, and you need to go be with your friends or your significant other. And when you're constantly doing something and you're constantly have something, you have work in the back of your mind, sometimes those moments can all be kind of annoying to you, and you don't want to ever get to that point where it's like being with your friends and family is a burden to you because you feel like you need to go do something else. So it's important to have that balance of my friends and my family and my life beyond what I'm actually trying to do and trying to accomplish is important too. And meditating and exercising,
that's what I was going to say. Yeah.
You have to take time for yourself because you have to let your brain come back. You can't just constantly be doing something, because if you're constantly doing something, and you're going to mess up, and you're not going it's not going to be as good of work as it could have been if you just would have taken 10 or 15 minutes to just go outside or walk your dog or just breathe or just be.
Yeah, take a break, do something else.
Yeah.
That is conducive to your health and well-being. It's interesting. I was thinking about a client of mine who, when you said, those things about things that are constantly in your mind, and people are doing from the minute they get up to the minute they go to sleep, they're thinking about doing. And he said to me, I don't even look at myself in the mirror because I'm afraid that I take a moment for myself. That's neurosis.
Yeah.
The opposite of being mindful.
Yeah.
And that's when I asked you the question about habits, that's one thing that I like about you too. You know how to create harmony in your life.
We've got younger people, believe it or not, younger than your dad and I, younger than Nordine and I,
wow,
watching and listening to this. Because, you've had a pretty good degree of success at a young age doing your own thing, being an entrepreneur. What kind of advice would you give to somebody watching this, listening to this right now, that would help them pursue some kind of entrepreneurial position?
I would definitely say to do something that you're truly passionate and that you truly love. Because people say, you do something you're passionate about and you'll never work a day in your life. And that's partly true. I mean, is the grunt work of things, but when it's for the greater good, you want to come back to it and you want to keep on doing it. And so
find your passion.
Yeah. And if you can't even find your passion, just look around and focus on what you love and what you're passionate about. And what you're passionate about doesn't even need to be something that you love. It could be something that makes you super angry, that you just want to fix and that you just want to go after and you want to make it better. And that is also passion. And
it's an activity you get better at, you like, and then eventually it'll become a passion. Yeah, you're right. I mean, a passion doesn't mean that it's all rosy, right?
Yeah. And just do something that makes the world a better place, that makes you feel like a better person, and don't go after just one thing like money. Don't just go after something that is only going to feed you in
your
bad
ego,
and wrong ways. Like if you're constantly going after money, this and this, but yeah, you're not going to reach the level of fulfillment that you can be at, because life is full of so many other good things, great things that are just beautiful. And if you're focused on one thing like money, you're going to miss all of the great and beautiful things in life. And
It's part of that harmony you create for yourself. Money has its place. Yeah, absolutely. Can you tell us about what you're doing now, about your company, and what is it about? And I'm sure people are interested in because we mentioned that you're an entrepreneur. What is it that you're doing?
so right now I make herbal relief, which is like either for your skin or your body or just relief in general. Well, I do only use herbs and containers and all of the ingredients that go into it that are good for the planet, and that my suppliers and manufacturers also keep in mind that process of regenerative agriculture. You have to have Mother Earth in mind to go into my product, and that's just the number one thing. And eventually I would love to, the long-term goal is to move my like where I grow my herbs and the things that go into my product into their native lands, and have their native people, because when to regenerate lands that are desertified, you need to grow native herbs, and you need to have their native animals grazing the land and doing what they can for the land, because that's why it was once long ago so beautiful, is because of the plants and animals that belong there. So I want to source my ingredient farms in places that they're native to, and bring in the people from that community that know about that land and that are experts in that land. And I want them to pay them livable, fair wages and grow their ingredients and do what they love, which is helping their land. And I want to have them help me regenerate the land and then use those herbs and plants into my product.
It's so powerful, and also it's a very noble project that you have. Can you tell us your company's name?
Bisous de Bella.
Bisous de Bella, yeah.
Which means kisses from Bella.
Absolutely.
In French.
Nice.
Who came out with the name?
Oh, my great father.
Are those
My lovely father.
okay? Are those organic kisses?
Oh, yeah, most of the ingredients going in them are organic.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Can you show us one of the products? But you have more than
This is my
skincare.
newest product. Yeah, I have more than skincare. Right now, I'm still would say I'm in my beginning phases. So what I'm doing right now is I'm really focusing on the products that are really helping people, because I mostly focus on pain relief, which is I wanted to start I didn't want to just start a business. I wanted to start a business that was actually going to help people even in its beginning stages. So I decided to make pain relief my first and number one focus, because even if it's small, one person that is going to buy product. I've had so many people come to me at the markets that I do, or message me and tell me that my product has really helped them. I had one lady that came up to me at the market, and she would always buy the Arnica magnesium bath salts that I sold her. And she came back and she told me that this was the only thing that allowed her to go to her grandson's soccer game. And so
That's probably pretty satisfying.
Yes, it was the best. I get
difference.
chills just thinking about this.
Yeah.
That was just really, that was one of the things that just made me want to keep on doing this.
Good.
Just because it just felt so good to help
And
people.
if people want to contact you, it's Bisous de Bella, right?
On all social medias, and then www.bisousdebella.com.
Thank you. It's not only a pleasure to have you here, but watching you grow, become the woman that you are now. I can't thank you enough for being who you are. Thank you for coming to the show.
Thank
And
you.
for me, I've heard so many good things about you from your dad. I actually get to finally meet you face to face. And if you enjoyed this podcast, unfortunately, we have to wrap it up. But please share this with somebody that you think can benefit from it. Subscribe,
Yeah,
like
subscribe, like, and please, get the
Share
word out.
it.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, share it. So anyway, thank you. And we appreciate you tuning in and listening and watching No Limits Life.
Follow your heart. All you gotta do